where you can get your burger's worth. By BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And by Fram oil filters, as dependable as the people who use them.
Number 18.
Top of the 8th inning from Shea Stadium, the Boston Red Sox, as the Mets prepare for their head-to-head with the New York Yankees. The Red Sox pounding them 9-1 Boston. And here is Takashi Kashiwada, the young left-hander from Japan who went to spring training with the Mets in an exchange agreement. And he impressed Bobby Valentine enough that eventually they brought him up for the minor leagues. And he has done a pretty good job. They've been very pleased with him, although his overall ERA is not very good. Alberto Castillo is now catching. You saw Kevin Morgan staying in to play third base.
When you look at Kashiwada's numbers, first thing that jumps at you is at bats. 12 innings, I'm sorry. And giving up 15 hits. That's 22 people on base in 12 innings.
Garcia Parra down the right field line, heading for the corner. Fair ball off the wall. It's a double for Garcia Parra. Well, this guy's got a little pop.
And he can run, too.
Right fielder Darren Bragg.
Well, the Mets have been this great, huge surprise in the National League East this year. They're in the pennant race. The Red Sox, a huge disappointment. But tonight, Nomar Garcia Parra and his Red Sox teammates are the ones on display, showing off on Sunday Night Baseball.
Well, the pitch looked like it's even off the plate outside, and he drives it down the right field line. And he leads off the 8th with a double.
Darren Bragg, 1 for 4 with a double. Red Sox have hit 4 doubles in the game and 2 home runs. Although Mo Vaughn had to leave the game in the 3rd inning after sliding home. He had some knee problems earlier this week in a game with Baltimore where he had to leave the ball game. The knee locked up on him. They took him for x-rays tonight. We have still not heard any news from that. You see the radar gun readings here on Kashiwada, 83, 84 miles an hour. So he is not a hard thrower. But then again, right here in this Mets staff, a guy like John Franco, he's not a hard thrower either, but he knows how to get it done. But this is the kind of a guy that they would often bring Kashiwada into face, a left-handed hitter. And Bragg moves Garcia Parra to third base.
Take a look at the injury to Mo Vaughn. This is the 3rd inning. He slides at the plate and then he gets up hobbling. It appeared to be a clean slide. It didn't appear to catch his spikes or anything like that. But you can see they helped him down the tunnel.
Well, the x-rays we're told revealed nothing at all, that they were negative. And when they get back to Boston tomorrow, they'll conduct more tests, because it is the 2nd time within the last 5 days that the knee has locked up on him. And apparently very similar to what knocked him out of the ball game with Baltimore on Wednesday. Mike Stanley, who came on to replace him at first base, standing in. The infield is in for New York. Runner at 3rd, 1 out. And that's low and in. 2-0 to Stanley with Tim Nearing on deck. Well, in the interleague play next week, as we told you, we get the Giants and the Dodgers from San Francisco. The Giants first place in that National League West. The Giants, behind Montreal, have had the most success so far in the interleague of all the National League teams. The Expos 3-0, all against Detroit. The Giants have won 3 out of 4. They split in Texas, and then they swept 2 in Anaheim. They have not yet played a home game in the interleague schedule. Seattle Mariners won 4 in a row, all at home. 2 against the Colorado Rockies, and then 2 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Giants' next interleague opponent, the Seattle Mariners. Tommy Lasorda. We'll probably see him when we go to Los Angeles next Sunday, but we won't see him in the dugout during the game. And Tommy says he misses it. But he's kept himself busy, and he's here tonight as part of the Cap Cure trying to find a cure for prostate cancer campaign. Wednesday night baseball, a doubleheader. Greg Maddux and the Braves. Joe Carter and the Blue Jays from the Sky Dome. Of course, the Blue Jays beat the Braves for their first World Series title, 1992. Then Jim Edmonds, who made one of the most incredible catches you'll ever see just the other day, facing Mike Piazza. It's the battle of the Los Angeles area. The Angels and Dodgers, 10:30 Eastern. Stanley having walked at first base, naring the hitter. Runners at first and third, 1 out. And that's ball one. Naring is 2 for 4. He's had a double and a single and has scored 2 runs. 9-1. Boston is leading. This Mets ball club, of course, had such strong starting pitching. But they've been roughed up 2 out of the 3 ball games in this series by the Red Sox. Rick Reed got knocked around Friday night. Clark pitched beautifully, though, yesterday. In fact, he had a no-hitter into the 8th inning for the Mets and also hit a home run. Kashiwada with Garcia Parra at third base and Stanley at first base. And a pop foul. Well, we told you Jim Edmonds made a great catch the other night. Here's a look at it. Watch this play.
There's a fly ball center field. Long run for Jim Edmonds.
In Kansas City. Wow. And that came in the 8th inning and probably saved the game for the Angels. Now, people were wondering, Joe, if that was maybe the greatest catch of all time. And a lot of people refer to the Willie Mays catch in the '54 World Series when talking about the greatest of catches. And some people in Southern California felt that that one was better than the one Mays made in the '54 series. Let's go back. Vic Wertz was the hitter, the 8th inning of the first game of the series.
No, I still have to give the nod to Willie. He had to go a little farther to make the catch. And the farther you run with the ball over the back of your shoulder, the tougher it is. But that was a great catch the other day by Edmonds.
All right, so you're not taking anything away from Edmonds?
No. I think the one Mays made, he had to run farther. I think that's the key.
Well, they both were probably game savers. Down the right field line, Ochoa makes the catch. Tagging at third is Garcia Parra, and he will score to put Boston into double figures. It is now 10-1 for the Red Sox.
Catcher Scott Hatteberg.
So 2 down, 10-1, and Scott Hatteberg coming up. Hatteberg has had a homer and a walk. He's 1 for 3. That Willie Mays catch, first game of the World Series. Cleveland, as Kerry Lacy warms up for Boston. Cleveland had the best record in the history of the American League that year. 111 wins, 43 losses. Heavily favored to win the series. They were 2 men on with 1 man out. Larry Doby at second base. When Mays caught that off the bat of Vic Wertz, they estimated he caught it 460 feet from home plate. And it was 483 to the deepest part of center field of the Polo Grounds, which was built like a football stadium. You know, it was an oblong shape. Now, he then wheeled around, as we saw in that play, and fired it back to the infield immediately. Larry Doby tagged up. Larry Doby thought he was going to catch it. He tagged up and only could get to third base. Mays got it back so quickly to the infield. The runner at first base had to go back to first. Cleveland never scored. The Giants won it in the 10th inning on a home run by Dusty Rhodes. And here it is now, 460 feet away from home plate. Now, just to the left of that, you see that's where the 483 marker was, deeper in. I guess you could argue when you talk about the whole situation and being the World Series and how Cleveland never recovered from that. Well, that would have been a game-winning hit.
Obviously, it's more memorable because it's in the World Series and tons of people see it. But in talking to Willie Mays over the years, he tells me that's not the greatest catch he ever made. He said he's made better catches.
Hatteberg, shallow center, Everett. Is the inning. So Boston gets 1 more against Kashiwada. 10-1 Red Sox as we go to the 8th inning. Top of the order coming for New York.